stop this really quickly, let a few people get into the chat. What is up, Rick? Rick is first on. Good to see you, Rick, and good to see you, Vicky. I hope everyone's having a great day. We have a whole lot to cover within this 35 minutes, but I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. So, how's everybody doing today? I want to know. We have 5 people watching in. I'm a little bit behind. I realized that. I was taking my son to school, and I had started the email of saying, hey, we have a really cool day planned, and then I realized it was about time to take him, so I'm just now getting back. That's why you got the link just a little bit late, and why we did 8:05 today. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about. We had an incredible week at Chord Academy. So that's right. Thank God it's Friday. So I'm going to pull up the folders, and just so you know, all the files are in Tuesday's folder for Chord Academy. If you, for some reason, can't find your link, let me know, because I'm going to resend everything probably right after the lesson, but definitely by around lunchtime today, just to make sure everybody has it. But this week's Chord Academy is full of things, and I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do today. I did write out the Pentriplett blues. The reason I call it the Pentriplett blues is because I told you guys the story, and which I'll share again in a minute. But basically, we're using the triplet feel on this whole blues, and then penta meaning for our pentatonic scale. And that's the sort of, this etude is full of the pentatonic scale, and it's going to really be nice, and it's all written out for you guys. Hugh, what's up? Hugh is the bookends of iMusicAcademy. So good to see you, Hugh. I hope you're ready to do the Pentriplett blues. All right, now let me go ahead and pull up the charts. Just a reminder for Chord Academy, whatever I do, whenever I pull up my charts and I'm practicing out of the Google folders, if I'm wanting to look at whatever is on my screen, I always duplicate the windows. So when I duplicate the windows, I can do the backing track on this one. Let me pull this up and show you what I'm talking about. So I have the duplicate windows. I just right click and I hit duplicate. I know some of you are on your phone. Anyway, I just duplicate the same thing, because in this week's folder is, let's just go down the rundown. I'm going to give you a reminder, everybody a reminder what we did this week. So we have holding on to the blues note licks. Lots of feedback with that. A lot of people loved it. We had this, and then we did this. The second exercise goes 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and great thing to practice. And just because we did it on Tuesday doesn't mean we don't need to keep going over this stuff. I love this one. Right, holding that top note. And the next one was, and the last one, again, now, just that one thing is full of awesome things. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and dig into this morning's comping PDF. And this is because at Chord Academy, you guys know I show you voicings, how to play jazz voicings, blues voicings. But one thing that's really, really, really important is the idea of using chords and context. I don't want to just show you a bunch of chords. I want to make sure you're putting them into context. Now, this PDF right here is in the folder, and so I just added this morning. I created this little two-hand comping voicing for a simple C blues. So we have the formula 3 flat 7 9, and somebody write that in the chat. And what I like for you guys to do whenever you're doing two-hand comping voicings, I like to do the numbers of whatever key you're in, and then a comma, and then the right hand numbers. So you're separating the left hand and the right hand by a comma. So write 3 flat 7 9 comma 13 9 5. Somebody write that in the chat. 3 flat 7 9. Rick's always on that. 3 flat 7 9 13 9 5. Okay, this is a two-hand comping voicing that would work great in a blues for jazz, a jazz blues, or a simple blues, right? A 3-chord blues is going to work great. A two-hand comping voicing. So the bass player's doing his thing, and you're doing bop, bop. And I like, we have a lot of guitar players at iMusicAcademy, and so sometimes I like to remind you guys, whenever I'm playing comping chords, I do from a half step below, ba-dum, da-da-da-da-da, or a half step, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. Just remember that. Nice. Okay, you've got that. Perfect, everyone. Now, make a note of those formulas. What I always like to do, now, this is not even from this week, but I write down the formulas as well, just to remind my brain and for you guys to make sure that you're writing this stuff down. Whenever you write down, even though I've written this down a million times, 3, flat 7, 9, 13, 9, 5. I know this, and I think it's good to keep doing that. So then when you start to go to a different key, you're able to easily transpose, right? That's the plan. Okay, the next thing is this. We have the next chord on there is F13. Now watch what happens. 3, flat 7, 9, 13, 9, 5. I do need to say, I think we are live on YouTube this morning. I think this was just like we did in our All Access group, is we're just showing the world out there on YouTube what we do in Chord Academy. So we may have some people from Chord Academy. I haven't checked YouTube to see, but I'm just letting you guys know. It might be public on YouTube. Okay, so notice that from here to C13, I can go to F13 just by lowering the bottom 2 notes by a half step. Isn't that amazing, Rick? You have this going, you have C, and then watch to get to the 4 chord. These 2 notes go down a half step, and now you have a different formula. You have flat 13, I'm sorry, you have flat 7, 3, 13, and then you have 3, 13, 9. And a lot of the time we want to make sure our notes aren't doubled. Like sometimes we like every note to be different, but it's also absolutely fine to double notes. Like, isn't that just a nice voicing to get from this C13? And we have people in our membership that are like Marla's in some jazz bands. When it's time for a C7, that's a great little voicing. When it's time for F or G, so watch this. F13 up 2 half steps, and now you have G13. Okay, so this is for a simple C blues. You can use it over the shuffle blues, and let's put that into practice. We're really going to spend time on the Pentriplett blues, but just want to go through a couple of voicing things for this week that I added. So here we go. Let's say we put on this drums, bass, and U track. I'm just going to play these 3 chords really quickly. Here we go. 2 and 3 and 4 and 2. See how I slid down? All right. Just relax. Here we go. G13 and 2 and 3 and I went down a half step to get to that F. Let's do it one more time, and then we'll dig into the next thing. Here we go. A tap. By doing that, you're already going to sound like you're in a jazz trio, right? Isn't that nice? All right, let me just go ahead and pull this up 1 second. All right, so yes, live on YouTube. Sorry, that's Vicky. Did you get it? Okay. Yeah. I think well, I don't know what y'all are talking about, but okay. Now, do you guys like that? The idea of playing along with the blues? So those tracks are in the folder for this week, and I just want to make sure you're grooving along with that. The next thing is, let's dig into the next thing in the files for this week, is you have both the 100 beats per minute of drums, bass, and U, and 110. The next one is Dave's Leaving on a Plane. Why did I put this in there? Is because Dave's leaving on a plane, all pentatonic, okay? So you have these same exact voicings, if you notice in the left hand, and you could play Dave's Leaving on a Plane, the whole song, as a pentatonic song, and this is not even the song we're covering today, but I want to at least show you how this sounds, Dave's Leaving on a Plane. And since you have your play-along tracks, play Dave's Leaving on a Plane. So here we go. Dave's leaving on a plane. Go to comping if you want. If we wanted to sing it, you could sing it. I tried my best to explain the days leaving on a plane. A day's leaving on a plane. It's so much faster than the train. They tried to tell him it's the same, but it's so much slower on the train. I tried my best to explain, yes I did, the Dave's leaving on a plane. Alright, that's your song, Dave's Leaving on a Plane, using the backing tracks. Alright, what's up, Jeffrey? Jeffrey, the most consistent guy on YouTube that I know. Great to see you, Jeffrey. Everybody say hey to Jeffrey. Okay, now, the next thing we're going to do is dig into the new song, the Pentriplett Blues. Let me get out of here, and we're going to go right into things. So Dave's Leaving on a Plane. We just did that. All right, here's your score. Everybody ready for this? So, quick story time. We're doing great on time. We're going to 8:35 today. Actually, 8:40 today because I was 5 minutes late starting. So 8:40 today we'll be signing off. This idea of pentatonic blues using the triplet feel. That's why it has this weird name, the Pentriplett Blues. I think that's the way I'm going to spell it. Good friend of mine, I was playing a gig with him. I was on bass, he was on piano, and I noticed this is a couple years ago, I think, and he was doing this the whole night. And this guy studied with some really amazing teachers in New York and everything, and I think he's really liked Kenny Kirkland. So his language is all Kenny Kirkland, which is awesome. And he was doing that all night. Like, it didn't matter what we were doing. He'd play that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I thought, man, that's crazy. I don't ever do that. And so I stole his idea of doing that, which he probably stole from somebody else. And then, well, he did, his teacher, and Kenny Kirkland, I guess. But this idea of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and when you do, like, when you think about Art Tatum stuff, Art Tatum was, the best, arguably, is that the way they say that? One of the best. Well, he was one of the best, if not the best jazz pianist ever. And he would use 1, 2, 3. People would say he would do 1, 2, 3 on a lot of his stuff, which is crazy. All those crazy fast runs and everything. Here's the deal: we're gonna take our scale. So I started thinking about doing that, and I started putting that into my own playing. And so there's just a couple of fingering things that you have to learn as you're doing the 1, 2, 3, but it's a really nice sound, and it really helps you connect things. So I started doing it with things like the pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes, Art Tatum. So then I said, okay, well, you guys know that I love to create etudes for you, and this, as part of Chord Academy, this is chords and context. I want to give you something that not only has the voicings we've been using, not only has the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, but also has the blues scale. Okay, so it's doing the pentatonic. So this whole etude is using the triplets, using this 1, 2, 3 method, and also using the pentatonic scale. So let's go through this quickly. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to make this happen. And then, of course, the PDF is in the folder for this week for Chord Academy. Watch this. The first thing is, notice it's just the blues scale, but instead of going straight up the blues scale, I actually start on the flat 5 or the sharp 4, the tritone, and you go 2, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2. right? Isn't that nice how that's a little bit different? 2, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So a lot of 1, 2, 1, 2s right there. But right here is where the magic happens. You're going 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Does it again. But right here, we do something just a little bit different because we can. So we go sharp 9 to sharp 4. Is it different in the way it feels or the way it sounds or both, Rick? I have that question for you. Okay, now, one thing we have to do is figure out where did the beats line up. I need to say this, especially since we're live on YouTube, is this idea of when you're learning about jazz and the swing feel, and especially blues and trying to lock up notes, if I was just playing this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and to get the feel you're looking for, you're going to go 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then. So notice that on the triplet, 1 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then. So as I'm doing that, notice that the first beat, 1 and, gets 2 parts of the triplet. One triplet is the third beat. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. And what's nice about that is if I'm going 1 triplet, 2 triplet, and I do the 1 and 2 and, I have to figure out where do the beats line up. 1 and then 2 and then. To get the and of 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I'm really thinking 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, like 1 and then 2 and then. 1 and then 2 and then. That gets me the and of 2. So it's going to lock up on the F sharp. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and. And then on the way back up, it's the E flat. Yeah, so it's definitely going to sound different, Rick, because even though it's the blues scale, it's actually like sharp. It's starting on the sharp, which is the tritone, right? The dissonance. But it's still blues scale notes. And that right there gets you to that tritone, and that on purpose is supposed to have a lot of dissonance there. So I hope I'm getting you guys to understand as you're trying to lock up 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. To get that, again, you're going to have to think 1 and then 2 and then. The F sharp. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there, it happens again on the E flat. So F sharp. E flat. That's awesome, Rick. That's really good to know. I'm starting over with this etude. All right, here we go. I'm going to change it to this, Rick. All right, let's turn on the track. Let's see if we can make some music out of this. Before I do that, I need to tell you guys this important thing about this etude is that notice that even on the C, it's the same exact thing as when you do the F. And back again. And then we're going to go same thing. And then right here we go up on the F, we go to the flat 7. All right, let's do it again. Now, even if you don't like it melodically, my hope of this whole etude is this right here. Getting this pattern of the 1, 2, 3. That's why it's the Pentriplett blues. All right, here we go. And it's sort of taking the blues scale, and you can do whatever you want with the blues scale as long as you're adding in the Pentriplett Pentriplett side of things. Let me demonstrate this. So first, maybe I'm just going to do a little bit of this. The first 5 notes of the blues scale, since Rick says it sounds like a doorbell, the other part. Watch. To the slower one, just so I don't want this to sound too fast as we're trying to learn this. So that's the 110 beats per minute, but you guys have the 100 beats per minute. I think this one feels a little bit better. Okay, now a couple of things. Notice that I could do the first 5 notes of the blues scale and I go. Everybody say hey to Doug. What's up, Doug? So Doug is the speed police, which is probably a good thing that I went back down a few clicks. All right, let's talk about this. Okay. Now, there is a lot to process when you talk about even just the folder for this week. And here's where I want to sort of land the plane, the tempo guy. That's right. Doug doesn't play around. So Vance, one of our newest members, is the music police. So if I forget to change the sheet music, Vance is all over it. Vance is the music police. Doug is the tempo police. But you have this idea in the folder. Let me actually switch since we don't have the police on the music thing. So the first thing from this week, you guys know this is very popular, getting used to that 5th on top. So even as going through my C blues, maybe I'm doing this as part of my examples, and you guys know, and I remember Doug really liking the end of this one, right? This idea, the getting here's what I think he really likes, which we all like, is this 3rd up to the root. And we've been talking this week about the importance of your 3rds. So you can pick any one of these ideas to mess around with. Maybe I want to just take this idea and do this and have that as a part of my improv, which I need to tell you guys that we have 7 members in the public YouTube thing now. I was hoping, so Vance was number 6, and then Ian signed up last night or yesterday from for the YouTube channel. And Ian loved this idea of this PDF because it's simple and then it gets more complex, and I think it fit right in his skill level. But I love this idea of teaching you guys about holding these notes when you can, right? When I play these little blues licks, I'm holding the top note. It's just something that you get used to doing. Now, maybe I'm going to turn on the track. I'm giving you guys practice suggestions here as we go through this. Watch this. If I pull up this idea that Doug was saying I know he likes. Now, I could do that and then watch. Now this. And 2. And 3. part that Rick doesn't like. All right, let me stop this really quickly. Okay, now let's go back to the folder here. You got Dave's Leaving on a Plane. I'm going to encourage all of you to learn Dave's Leaving on a Plane. One of my favorite songs, just because it flows so nicely and it has a nice lyrics, so it has a good story to it. Okay, the Pentriplett Blues, I'm going to go back here. And if you have this lesson, of course, to see how it sounds, but also if you want to see how the exact audio file from Finale, it's not going to swing in any way, but at least has the notes. All right, so that's a little fun addition that I've been doing to a lot of our things. All right, let me just check. Let's check on the chat. All right. Doug is serious about the speed, this tempo thing. He's the tempo doctor or the speed police. Okay, now we have had a lot of material this week from Chord Academy and from our All Access group, but it's all C blues related. And remember that this whole thing is a journey. Like this idea of the first PDF is in the folder. Maybe you want to practice that. And you go, and then you're here, right? And you work on little ideas, like maybe it's just sliding, holding the top note on C, F, and G. This is success right here. And maybe it's this right here. And then this is just C minor pentatonic, and that's sort of the lesson for today and this week. I love that thing. Again, I had to learn that from somebody else, and then I stole this idea. But it's so nice to think of like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which I wouldn't have done in the past. Okay, so last night we have a few more minutes. I want to remind you guys that the Ray Charles things we've been doing lately, where we go slide the minor third to major third, and slide down with our third finger, our down home fingering. Sometimes it's as simple as this, like something that's based around C, something to make you feel really bluesy or jazzy. And all of your minor third to major third licks work over each chord. I need to say that again. I need you guys to put that you got it in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. If we were playing a C blues and you played your C blues scale, all those notes are going to work. But if I went to the F blues scale, it's going to sound horrible. And if I went to the G scale, it's going to sound horrible. But if I do this, if I go, but on F, I go, even on G, go. Oh, hey, this idea of the one that Doug likes of this. For anybody who's watching this from YouTube, one of the things we said this week is if you're doing a C blues and the first five notes of the C blues scale, that sounds fantastic. But if you're on a C blues, you can think of the fourth note away, so C, D, E, F, and do the F chord, so F and A, and then you go to that. And that's what we were just doing that. So when I go to the 4 chord, F, I think 4 notes away from F is B flat. And on G, and C. Same exact thing, which is really nice. Okay, now we have about 4 more minutes, and I want to show you guys one more thing. Remember that we've been really busy I've been really busy writing out etudes and things for you. Don't forget about this one. It was this. Same thing. Rick says minor third to major third slide, got it. And then Vicky says slide is difficult because it's D, E flat, E. No, it's not a slide. Hey, that's okay. What I think what Vicky's saying is this is difficult of getting used to this. That's a good point, Vicky. Of when I'm doing the Ray Charles, I do 1, 2, 2. And you just have to get used to doing that on your keyboard. But same exact thing once you get it on C, F, and G. All right, now we did have, I wish Ian was on this morning. I sent a link for Ian, but Ian is our newest member on YouTube. If anybody's watching this, and that's right, it's kind of like a roll. If anybody's interested in joining the YouTube channel, it is full of tons of goodies. As I demonstrated last night, it's a really cool addition to our overall academy. It's the first time I was able to do a kind of a public-private membership on YouTube, and so we're at 7 members, and I'm very excited about that. It's a really awesome community that we're building. And in fact, I send them links to our academy things sometimes, which is really cool. All right, now we're going to wrap it up by doing a little bit of improvisation, and all I'm going to do is take each one of the ideas that are in this week's folder and demonstrate that. And what I'm doing is demonstrating just different ways you guys can practice this stuff, okay? And I'm going to say this: what questions do you have as we're going through this? And I will be checking the chat, but I'm going to turn on the track and just improvise some of these ideas. The first thing is I might just want to get the first 5 notes of the blues scale going, like both hands. Oh, that reminds me, at the end of this, I have to tell you guys something very cool that I'm working on that you're going to love. Those 3 chords, I'm just doing a simple improvisation on the C blues. First 5 notes. And remember, it's nice to repeat if you get a melody. Ba, ba, I did this. Ba, da, ba, ba, da. Coming down. All right, let's try the pentatonic pentriplett blues of just this part. Again. Works over F chord. Blues scale. Let's do something else. Let's do this Doug's lick. And 4 and 1. Here, pentatonic. You can do that over this G chord. Hold on a second. Can you see who's at the door? That's funny. guys are so funny. All right, let me stop this. All right, now, what are the takeaways? What are the takeaways from this week's Chord Academy? And while we're doing this, I'm going to tell you guys of a project I'm working on. The intervals, yeah. B flat to G flat, sounded like that. Yes, this idea. Yeah, and you know what's funny about that, Rick, is I totally agree with you. I don't know about the doorbell, but yes. But the reason that I do that on that, when I go, watch this, I'm on G, and I know on a G dominant, it has a major 7. But you know why we do that? Because we can. You can always mention that, Rick. Come on. All right, now, in fact, I wouldn't have it any other way. You guys got to give me some pushback. All right, now, everyone, this is going to be the exciting news. The lesson is over, but for those of you who want to stay around for the next 2 minutes, I'm going to tell you guys something cool. So a lot of the time when I'm improvising, I'll do the same thing in both hands. You guys know this. And if you notice that, put got it in the chat. Or yes, put yes. Yeah, so watch this. I'm going to do the same thing. It's called unison playing, and I got this idea from Oscar Peterson. When I say Oscar Peterson, which when I first started listening to Oscar Peterson, that's what I heard all the time, is unison lines, where he would play really cool things, and it sounds amazing, 2 octaves apart. So if you take that same concept and you start to practice putting notes in the same exact thing, and somebody said, hey, I really like that. In fact, Ian, who just joined our YouTube channel, and so I'm actually working on putting all that together. I'm going to show you guys very quickly just the gist of how I think when I do that, and then I'm just going to tell you that for the YouTube for my website, I'm creating a course for that. Of course, in the All Access group, it'll be in there, and there'll be things from it inside the YouTube community as well. But watch this. The first thing is, let's say you say the first 5 notes of the blues scale. Remember, I know I'm over, but this is just bonus thing for anybody who wants to stay around for 3 or 4 minutes. These notes right here. So even with the first 5 notes of the blues scale, I had this. Now notice that I'm about to transition, and notice that I transitioned into the top half of the blues scale, right? Now watch this. Now I got back into the shape right there. So as I go through just the blues scale, that's the top half, and I transition. So that's like a step 1 in knowing my blues scale. That gives me a whole lot of material to work together. So is everybody seeing that I'm visualizing the first 5 notes of this blues scale, and as I transition, go down, now my thumbs are together, and I can go again and keep going down the keyboard. Okay, that's just the blues scale. If I do this in my right hand and left hand, I go ba da 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 ba da 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 da. Notice that even this, my middle fingers are together. And watch this. I transition in the same way that I would do the scales. So I did this 3, 5. Watch this, I'm transitioning. Okay, do you guys see what I was doing there? Like whenever I'm trying to keep my fingers in a 5-finger pattern kind of shape. So I go. See how this is together, right? Now, I can do that with triads, with tenths, with all kinds of things. I could do this. I could go. So all these pattern-based things where we're keeping our hands together. And that's sort of the gist on it, but I've done so many things where I do this. So that as you learn how to play with both hands, you're basically getting the doors, the key, you have the key, and I'm unlocking the doors to the mysterious art of playing unison. I sound like ChatGPT just then. I've got to watch it. Unlocking the mysterious problem of learning how to play unison lines. One last thing about that is, in addition to that, I've developed etudes. And I do these, like sometimes I'll play these in different keys as well. But I like this idea of this. And then Rick's favorite note, where I go. You see what we're doing there? All unison lines. Isn't that a fun etude? Who wants me to write that out? All right. What we're going to do is we're going to say goodbye like we normally do. You have 1 minute to say goodbye. We need our bookends at iMusicAcademy. I am waiting for the next person to join our YouTube, public YouTube. All you have to do is hit join. Look at all the crazy perks there on that. I'm waiting for the next person to join our group on YouTube. It's really not as scary as it seems. We do voicings and more, but Rick doesn't like sharp 4. Or maybe it's just me and there's Hugh. I'm looking for the next person on YouTube. Jeffrey, a shout out to, let's do what we normally do. I get to tell you guys bye. It's good to see you, Rick, and Vicky was second, and then Hugh was starting off. To T-Man, to Jeffrey, of course, always consistent. Doug made it. Doug's been very consistent, though. And J-Man joined us yesterday, which is awesome. I think that's everybody. Yes. All right, Doug. Hey, Doug, great to see you on today. Jeffrey, everybody. And, of course, Hugh. Look at Hugh. Hugh is always the bookends. He's the bookends of iMusicAcademy. Come on, he says hello, stays to the end, says goodbye. That's the way we do it. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday for All Access, Tuesday for Chord Academy, and for the YouTube channel. I'm waiting for the next person to join. All you have to do is join. You'll see all the amazing goodies that are already waiting for you inside the membership. Like my full course, the Shapes course is in there, to where you learn how to do this. Have a great day, everyone. That's awesome. That's awesome.